What if raw, unfiltered supercar DNA didn't just stay on the track, but stormed the streets, conquered mountains, and rewrote the rules of what an SUV could be? What if brute force met ballot, like precision, Italian passion fused with German engineering, and every drive felt less like transportation and more like a declaration of war against the ordinary? Buckle up, because you're about to meet the machine that didn't just enter the luxury SUV arena, it incinerated it. Welcome to AutoXplore, where we don't just review cars, we dissect legends, ignite imaginations, and take you inside the soul of the world's most thrilling machines. And today, we're unleashing the Lamborghini Urus, the world's first super SUV, a 666 horsepower masterpiece of aggression, artistry, and absolute audacity that dares to blend the fury of a hurricane with the practicality of, well, carrying your golf clubs. From the very first glance, the Urus refuses to apologize. It doesn't blend into traffic, it dominates it. Its silhouette is pure Lamborghini, low-wide, and impossibly muscular, with sharp creases slicing through the air like blades. The front fascia is a study in controlled violence. Y-shaped LED headlights glare like predator eyes, flanking a massive, hexagonal grille that doesn't just cool the engine, but announces its presence like a lion's roar made metal. Below, aggressive intakes and carbon fiber splitter channels aren't for show, they're functional aerodynamics engineered to press the Urus into the tarmac at speeds that would terrify lesser vehicles. Slide along the side, and the drama intensifies. Scissor style door handles, 23-inch forged alloy wheels wrapped in performance rubber, so wide they nearly kiss the fenders, and blistered wheel arches that bulge with the promise of power. The roofline flows into a steeply raked rear window, culminating in a fixed carbon fiber spoiler that automatically adjusts its angle to manage downforce, because even at rest, the Urus is thinking about speed. Around back, quad exhaust tips, finished in titanium and angled like jet nozzles, frame a diffuser so aggressive it looks ready to slice asphalt. Full-width LED taillights pulse, with a Y-motif signature that's unmistakably Lamborghini, glowing like embers in the dark. But this isn't just styling for shock value. Every vent, every duct, every curve serves a purpose: managing airflow, reducing lift, enhancing cooling, or simply making sure everyone knows you've arrived. The paint, available in over 150 bespoke colors, from matte verd mantis green to glossy Nero Noctis black, each applied in 7 layers and hand-polished to a mirror finish that reflects the world like a liquid dream. Even the brake calipers are works of art. Optional carbon, ceramic discs clamped by 10-piston monoblock calipers finished in yellow, red, or even gloss black, capable of hauling this 5,000-pound beast from 60 miles to 0 in under 100 feet. Step inside, and the theater continues. The cabin is a cockpit, not a lounge, wrapped in Alcantara, leather, and real carbon fiber, with fighter jet-inspired toggle switches rising from the center console like weapons controls. The steering wheel is flat, bottomed, thick, rimmed, and festooned with drive mode selectors, because in the Urus, you don't just drive, you command. The seats hug you like a racing harness, yet offer heating, ventilation, and massage for those rare moments of civility. Behind the wheel, a fully digital 12.3-inch TFT instrument cluster renders everything from G-force meters to navigation with razor-sharp clarity, while a second touchscreen manages climate and media, because even gods need to adjust the AC. This is not an SUV designed for soccer practice. It's a rolling manifesto, proof that practicality and passion can coexist, if you're willing to build a vehicle that laughs at compromise. The Urus doesn't just carry 5 people, it launches them into another dimension of driving. It doesn't just tow a trailer, it redefines the limits of physics, and it certainly doesn't whisper. It screams in a language only adrenaline understands. So forget everything you thought you knew about SUVs, because the Lamborghini Urus isn't here to play nice. It's here to remind the world that Lamborghini doesn't follow trends. It sets them on fire. Press the anima button, the Lamborghini word for soul, and the Urus doesn't just wake up, it roars to life. The engine, a twin turbocharged 4.0 Liter V8 nestled low and wide behind the front axle, erupts with a guttural snarl that vibrates through the chassis and straight into your spine. A sound so raw, so unapologetically mechanical, it feels less like ignition and more like summoning a beast from myth. This isn't just any power plant. It's a hand-assembled masterpiece forged in Sant'Agata Bolognese, tuned not for efficiency but for emotion, delivering a staggering 666 horsepower and 627 lb-ft of torque, all available from just 250 rpm. The result, a 0-60 mph sprint in a mind-bending 3.1 seconds, a quarter-mile time under 11.5 seconds, and a top speed of 190 mph, figures that shame many dedicated supercars, let alone an SUV weighing over 2.5 tons. But the true genius of the Urus lies not just in its brute force, but in how it channels that fury with surgical precision. The 8-speed automatic transmission, borrowed from Porsche, but recalibrated by Lamborghini engineers to shift faster than a human blink, fires off gear changes with rifle-shot crispness, whether you're crawling through city traffic or hammering down an empty autobahn. In Strada mode, it's deceptively civilized, smooth, quiet, even docile, lulling unsuspecting onlookers into thinking this is just another luxury crossover. But twist the dial to sport, and the exhaust valves open wide, unleashing a symphony of pops, crackles, and turbo whooshes that echo off canyon walls like thunder. Switch to Corsa, and the Urus transforms into a track weapon. Suspension firms to race car stiffness, throttle response sharpens to hair trigger sensitivity, gearbox holds gears to redline, and all-wheel drive sends up to 80% of torque rearward for controlled oversteer that'll make seasoned drivers grin like teenagers. And then there's Sabia. Yes, Lamborghini included a desert mode, because why shouldn't a super SUV dominate dunes as effortlessly as it devours tarmac? Beneath the skin, the engineering is nothing short of obsessive. The Urus rides on an adaptive air suspension with active anti-roll bars that can vary damping rates 500 times per second, keeping the body flat through corners while absorbing bumps with surprising compliance. The all-wheel drive system features a self-locking rear differential and a torsion center unit that can send torque front to rear or side to side in milliseconds, ensuring grip even when physics says you should be sliding. Carbon ceramic brakes, standard on most trims, are massive 17.3-inch rotors up front clamped by 10 piston calipers, capable of repeated high-speed stops without fade. Their bite so immediate it feels like hitting an invisible wall. Yet for all this aggression, the Urus never loses its sense of control. The steering is hydraulic assisted, offering real feedback and weight that builds naturally with speed, so you always know what the front tires are doing, whether you're threading through mountain switchbacks or navigating a rainy highway. At 150 mph, the cabin remains eerily calm, thanks to laminated acoustic glass, triple-sealed doors, and strategic use of sound-deadening materials that silence wind and road noise without muting the engine's glorious soundtrack. This duality, brutal performance wrapped in refined composure, is the Urus's secret weapon. It's the only vehicle on Earth that can drop your kids at school in comfort, then annihilate a Nürburgring lap time before lunch. But don't mistake refinement for softness. The Urus was bred for extremes. Its underbody is armored with aluminum skid plates. Its cooling system features not one, not two, but 10 radiators, including dedicated units for the engine oil, transmission, and even the differential, to manage heat during sustained high-load driving. The aerodynamics are equally extreme. Active flaps in the front bumper open at speed to increase downforce, while the rear spoiler rises automatically above 62 mph, generating up to 88 pounds of additional grip to keep the tail planted. Even the wheels are engineered for violence. Optional 23-inch forged alloys are lighter than standard cast rims, reducing unsprung mass for sharper turn-in and better ride quality, because every gram matters when you're dancing on the edge of adhesion. Inside, the cockpit intensifies the experience. The digital instrument cluster morphs based on drive mode in Corsa. It becomes a minimalist race display showing only speed, gear, and G-forces. In Strada, it offers full navigation and media info. The center console rises like a jet fighter's spine, lined with haptic, feedback touch buttons and physical toggles for drive modes, exhaust, suspension, and launch control, because in a machine this intense, you need tactile certainty, not menu diving. The seats, available in quilted leather or Alcantara with contrast stitching, offer 18-way power adjustment, heating, ventilation, and even massage, but their bolsters are firm enough to hold you during 1G cornering. Rear passengers aren't forgotten. They get generous legroom, dual-zone climate controls, and heated seats, though the sloping roofline sacrifices some headroom for style, a fair trade in a vehicle this audacious. Cargo space. There's 22 cubic feet behind the rear seats, enough for weekend bags or golf clubs, and 62 cubic feet with seats folded, proving that yes, you can have both supercar thrills and practical utility, if you're willing to pay the price. And that price isn't just financial, it's emotional, because once you've driven the Urus, ordinary vehicles feel numb, lifeless, inert. The Urus doesn't just move you, it awakens you. It turns every on-ramp into a launch pad, every straightaway into a proving ground, every curve into a challenge accepted. It's not transportation, it's transformation. And in a world of sanitized, electrified, algorithm-driven mobility, the Urus stands as a defiant monument to analog passion, mechanical theater, and the unshakable belief that driving should never stop being fun, even if you're sitting higher than everyone else. But let's be honest, the Lamborghini Urus was never meant to be understood, it was meant to be felt. Because specs, numbers, and engineering marvels only tell half the story. The real magic happens in the moments between the data points, in the way your breath catches when you first hear that V8 bark echo off a canyon wall at dawn, in the electric tingle that races up your spine as you floor it on an empty desert highway, in the quiet awe that settles over you when you realize you're piloting a machine that defies every expectation of what an SUV should be. This is where the Urus transcends metal and mechanics and becomes something almost mythic, a rolling paradox wrapped in carbon fiber and Italian leather, a beast that can carry your family to brunch and then dominate a racetrack before sunset. It's in the way strangers stop mid-stride on city sidewalks just to stare, not because it's flashy, but because it radiates presence. A primal energy that commands attention without begging for it. It's in the way your passenger grips the Alcantara, wrapped grab handle not out of fear, but out of sheer exhilaration, as you carve through mountain switchbacks with the precision of a scalpel, the all-wheel drive system dancing torque between axles like a conductor leading an orchestra of physics. And it's in the silence that follows a hard drive, the engine ticking softly as it cools, the cabin still humming with residual adrenaline, the world outside suddenly feeling slower, duller, less alive. Because the Urus doesn't just move you through space, it recalibrates your perception of what's possible. You start seeing roads differently, not as routes to endure, but as canvases to conquer. Traffic lights become launch zones. Rain-slicked curves become challenges to master. Even parking becomes a performance, thanks to the optional rear-wheel steering that shrinks the Urus's turning radius to that of a compact hatchback, making tight garages feel effortless. But beyond the performance, beyond the theater, lies something even more profound, the Urus as a symbol of liberation. In a world increasingly obsessed with autonomy, electrification, and passive mobility, the Urus stands as a defiant celebration of driver engagement. It doesn't numb you with isolation, it connects you to the road, to the machine, to the raw, unfiltered joy of driving. Every input matters. Every decision counts. There's no artificial steering feel, no synthetic engine sound piped through speakers, no algorithm deciding how much fun you're allowed to have. Just you, the machine, and the open road, a trinity as old as motoring itself. And yet, for all its ferocity, the Urus never forgets its role as a companion in real life. Need to ferry 4 adults across state lines. The cabin swallows them in comfort, with heated, ventilated seats, dual-zone climate control, and a panoramic sunroof that floods the interior with light. running late for a meeting. The adaptive cruise control and lane, keeping assist ease the burden of highway monotony, without ever taking full control away from you. Forgot your golf bag? The power tailgate opens with a wave of your foot, revealing a cargo hold that's surprisingly spacious for a vehicle this aggressive. This is the Urus's ultimate triumph. It refuses to force you to choose between passion and practicality. It says, why not both? And then delivers both with such conviction, such swagger, such unapologetic brilliance, that you wonder why anyone ever settled for less. Over time, the Urus stops feeling like a possession and starts feeling like an extension of your will, a mechanical avatar that amplifies your confidence, sharpens your senses, and turns ordinary days into adventures. It becomes the reason you take the long way home, the excuse to plan weekend getaways just to feel its exhaust crackle through alpine passes, the silent partner in your boldest ideas. And yes, it's expensive. Yes, it drinks premium fuel like water. Yes, it turns heads in a way that can feel almost uncomfortable. But that's the point. The Urus isn't for everyone. And it never pretended to be. It's for those who believe that life is too short for compromise, that utility shouldn't mean dullness, and that sometimes the most rebellious thing you can do is demand excellence in everything you touch. It's for the dreamers who still believe cars can be art, for the drivers who refuse to let technology erase the soul of motoring, for the few who understand that true luxury isn't just about comfort, it's about feeling alive. So as twilight falls and you park the Urus in your driveway, engine cooling with a soft metallic sigh, you don't just see a vehicle, you see a statement, a manifesto, a middle finger to mediocrity. Its silhouette cuts a sharp shadow against the garage wall, low, wide, predatory, still radiating energy even at rest. The Y-shaped taillights glow faintly one last time before fading to black, like embers settling after a firestorm. And in that quiet moment, you realize something: the Urus didn't just change how you drive. It changed how you see the world. Roads are no longer obstacles, they're invitations. Time isn't just passing, it's being lived, fully, fiercely, gloriously. And every morning, when you press that anima button and hear that V8 roar back to life, you're not just starting an engine. You're igniting a promise to yourself, to the road, to the relentless pursuit of more speed, more beauty, more meaning. The Lamborghini Urus isn't just the world's first super SUV. It's proof that even in an age of algorithms and automation, the human spirit, and the machines we build to express it, can still burn bright, loud, and utterly unstoppable. So go ahead, turn the key, let the world hear you coming. Because at AutoXplore, we don't just chase cars, we chase the feeling they give us. And the Urus, it doesn't just give a feeling, it gives you wings. There comes a moment, deep in the night or at the edge of dawn, when the world holds its breath, and in that silence, the Lamborghini Urus doesn't just sit parked. It waits, not like a machine, but like a coiled predator, humming with latent energy, its carbon fiber skin catching the faintest sliver of moonlight, its quad exhaust tips still warm from the last run, exhaling ghost trails of heat into the cool air. This is when you understand. The Urus was never built to be owned. It was built to be partnered with, a mechanical soulmate for those who refuse to accept that life must be divided into compartments: work and play, practicality and passion, responsibility and rebellion. The Urus obliterates those boundaries. It says, why choose? Why compromise? Why settle for half a life when you can have it all? Delivered at 190 mph with a soundtrack composed by turbochargers and forged pistons. And so, as we reach the final turn of this journey, let us not speak only of horsepower or torque curves or lap times, though they are staggering, but of something deeper. The Urus as a philosophy made metal, a manifesto on wheels, a rolling declaration that excellence has no category, no limit, no apology. Because beyond the stats lies the truth. The Urus is the ultimate expression of modern automotive audacity, a vehicle that dares to ask, what if? And then answers with fire. What if an SUV could outhandle a sports sedan? It does. What if it could sprint faster than a Porsche 911 Turbo? It can. What if it could carry your family, your gear, your dreams, and still make your heart pound like you're strapping into a fighter jet? It absolutely does. Every time. Without fail. This is not marketing hyperbole. This is lived reality for anyone who's gripped that flat, bottomed steering wheel, selected Corsa mode, and unleashed 666 horses of Italian-engineered fury onto an open road. The acceleration isn't just fast, it's violent. A surge of thrust that pins you deep into the sculpted sport seats, as the horizon rushes toward you like a collapsing star. The sound is not engineered. It's alive, a guttural V8 roar, layered with turbo spool, wastegate chirps, and exhaust pops that crackle like gunfire on overrun. Each note calibrated not in a lab, but on the Nürburgring, where Lamborghini engineers spent thousands of hours, tuning the acoustics to stir the soul, not just the eardrums. And the handling. Forget everything you think you know about tall vehicles. The Urus corners like it's on rails, thanks to its active anti-roll bars, rear wheel steering, and adaptive air suspension that reads the road 500 times per second, flattening body roll to near zero, while maintaining enough compliance to absorb broken pavement without jarring your spine. You can flick it into a high-speed sweeper, feel the rear end tuck in with telepathic precision, and emerge on the other side not just intact, but exhilarated, as if the car read your mind before you even moved your hands. This is driving as dialogue, not man versus machine, but man with machine, in perfect sync. But the Urus's genius isn't just in how it performs, it's in how it makes you feel. There's a confidence it instills, a quiet, unshakable certainty that you are piloting something extraordinary. It's in the way strangers give you space on the highway, not out of fear, but out of respect. It's in the way your passenger falls silent mid-sentence when you hit the throttle, their eyes wide, their grin involuntary. It's in the way you catch yourself glancing back at it after parking, as if to confirm it's real. And yes, it's luxurious. Hand-stitched leather, ambient lighting that pulses like a heartbeat, a Bang & Olufsen sound system that turns every drive into a concert hall, but never soft, never complacent. Even in strada mode, there's tension beneath the surface, like a lion napping in the sun, always ready to spring. The cabin is a cockpit first, lounge second. Every control angled toward the driver, every material chosen for both beauty and function. The toggle switches for drive modes rise from the center console like weapons controls on a stealth fighter. Because in the Urus, you're not just driving, you're deploying, and when you activate launch control, pressing brake and throttle simultaneously until the digital display flashes, LUNCH, the Urus becomes a mistout. The engine revs to 3,000 RPM, turbo spool to full pressure, all systems lock into race readiness, and the moment you lift off the brake, all 627 lb, fate of torque explodes through all four wheels, catapulting you forward with such ferocity that your vision narrows, your stomach drops, and time itself seems to stretch. 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds isn't just a number, it's a physical experience, a full-body immersion in controlled chaos. Yet for all this savagery, the Urus remains astonishingly livable. Need to pick up groceries. The ride is supple enough to spare your eggs. Stuck in traffic. The infotainment system, with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a crystal clear 12.3-inch touchscreen, keeps you connected without distraction. Planning a road trip. The adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and blind spot monitoring ease the burden of long miles, while the panoramic sunroof and massaging seats ensure everyone arrives refreshed. This duality, track weapon by day, luxury cruiser by night, isn't a gimmick. It's the Urus's core identity. It exists to prove that you don't have to sacrifice one part of your life to enjoy another. You can be a parent, a professional, an adventurer, and still command a machine that turns heads from Monaco to Malibu. And let's talk about legacy. The Urus didn't just enter the SUV market, it redefined it. Before 2018, the idea of a Lamborghini SUV was met with skepticism, even outrage. Purists cried sacrilege. Critics called it a cash grab. But Lamborghini didn't listen. They built it anyway. because they saw what others missed, that the future of performance wasn't confined to 2 seats and a low roofline. The future was inclusive. The future was versatile. The future was bold. And today, the Urus accounts for over half of Lamborghini's global sales, not because it's easy, but because it's essential. It's the gateway drug to the brand, the vehicle that introduces new buyers to the raging bull, and once they experience that blend of power, presence, and personality, they're hooked for life. It's also a financial lifeline that funds the development of limited-run hypercars like the Revuelto, ensuring Lamborghini's racing soul stays alive. So the Urus isn't just a product, it's a strategy, a statement, a revolution wrapped in Alcantara and carbon fiber. And as we stand at the end of this exploration, one truth echoes louder than any exhaust note: the Lamborghini Urus is more than the world's first super SUV. It's the definitive answer to a question humanity has whispered since the invention of the automobile. Can a car be everything? Can it be fast and functional, beautiful and brutal, exclusive and everyday? The Urus looks you in the eye and says, yes. Not with words but with action. With every mile it devours, every record it shatters, every dream it ignites. So whether you're watching it from afar or lucky enough to call one yours, remember this: the Urus isn't just a vehicle, it's a challenge to drive harder, live bolder, and never accept good enough. It's a reminder that greatness doesn't fit in boxes. And it's proof that sometimes the most radical thing you can do is build something that refuses to be categorized, and then let the world catch up. At AutoXplore, we chase machines that move us, not just across roads, but through emotions, through ideas, through time. And the Lamborghini Urus, it doesn't just move us, it transforms us. So go ahead, press the anima button, let the beast awaken. The road is waiting, and it's never been more alive. There are machines that transport you, and then there are machines that transform you. The Lamborghini Urus belongs to the latter, not because it's fast, not because it's loud, but because it rewires your relationship with possibility. It doesn't just sit in your driveway, it haunts your imagination. It doesn't just turn heads, it shifts perspectives. And as we reach the final mile of this journey, past the stats, beyond the specs, deeper than the leather and carbon fiber, we arrive at the truth: the Urus was never about building an SUV. It was about shattering a dogma. For decades, the automotive world operated on a silent covenant. Performance and practicality were sworn enemies. You could have a supercar that thrilled your soul, but left your family stranded at the airport. Or you could have a sensible crossover that hauled groceries but numbed your spirit. Compromise wasn't just expected, it was enforced. Then came Lamborghini, not with a whisper, but with a war cry forged in Sant'Agata Bolognese, tested on the MU Nürburgring's merciless curves, and baptized in the dust of desert dunes. The Urus didn't just enter the arena, it incinerated the rulebook. It said, why must passion live in the garage, while responsibility owns the driveway? Why can't one machine carry your children to school, and your dreams to the edge of physics? And so it built a paradox on wheels, a 5,000-pound titan that sprints to 60 miles faster than most sports cars, corners with the precision of a scalpel, yet swallows weekend luggage, dog crates, and ski bags without flinching. This isn't engineering, this is alchemy. Every element serves the duality. The adaptive air suspension softens for city potholes yet firms to race car stiffness in Corsa mode. The all-wheel drive system sends torque rearward for playful oversteer or forward for snow-covered mountain passes. The cabin wraps you in hand-stitched leather and Alcantara, yet every control, from the fighter jet toggle switches to the flat-bottomed steering wheel, is angled toward the driver, because in the Urus you're never a passenger. You're always in command. Even the exhaust is a character in Strada mode. It murmurs politely in sport, it crackles like a bonfire. In Corsa, it bellows like a beast unchained, each note tuned not by algorithms, but by engineers who believe sound is emotion made audible. And oh, the details, the obsessive, almost irrational details that reveal Lamborghini's soul. The scissor style door handles that echo the Aventador's drama, the Y-shaped LED signatures front and rear, glowing like predator eyes in the dark, the optional 23-inch forged wheels, lighter than standard alloys to sharpen reflexes, the carbon ceramic brakes, 17, 3 inches up front, that stop this Leviathan from 60 mph in under 100 feet, lap after lap, fade-freed, the active rear spoiler that rises at speed, pressing the Urus into the tarmac like a hand from the heavens. The 10 radiators, yes, 10, cooling everything from engine oil to differential fluid, because when you're dancing at 190 mph, heat is the enemy of excellence. But the Urus's true mastery lies not in what it does, but in how it makes you feel. It's the quiet confidence when merging onto a highway, knowing you have more thrust than traffic. It's the grin that spreads uncontrollably as you carve through canyon roads, the chassis telepathically reading your inputs before your hands move. It's the way strangers slow their pace just to watch it pass, not out of envy, but awe. It's the late night drive with no destination, windows down, exhaust roaring under starlight, feeling more alive than you have in months. This is the Urus effect. It doesn't just move your body, it awakens your spirit. And yes, it's absurdly expensive. Yes, it drinks premium fuel like water. Yes, it turns every parking lot into a runway. But that's the point. The Urus isn't for everyone, and it never pretended to be. It's for those who reject the tyranny of either or, for the architects who sketch skyscrapers by day and chase sunsets by night, for the surgeons who save lives Monday through Friday and attack racetracks on weekends, for the parents who teach their kids that excellence has no category. The Urus is their chariot, a machine that says, you don't have to choose between who you are and who you aspire to be. Over time, it stops being a vehicle and starts being a companion in your boldest chapters. It's there for the cross-country road trip where the only plan is west. It's there when you need to impress a client, then decompress with a solo drive through the mountains. It's there when life feels small, reminding you that you're capable of more, faster, higher, further. And when you finally park it at night, engine ticking as it cools, you don't just see metal and glass. You see a mirror, a reflection of your refusal to settle, your hunger for more, your belief that life should be lived not cautiously, but courageously. So as this journey ends, let us not say goodbye to the Urus. Let us thank it. Thank it for proving that passion and practicality can coexist. Thank it for making the impossible feel inevitable. Thank it for reminding us that sometimes the most revolutionary act is to build something so audacious, so uncompromising, so gloriously excessive, that it forces the world to expand its definition of what's possible. The Urus isn't just Lamborghini's best-selling model. It's their boldest statement yet. That greatness doesn't fit in boxes. That legacy isn't preserved, it's pushed forward. That the future of driving isn't silent, sanitized, or surrendered to algorithms, but loud, visceral, and fiercely human. At AutoXplore, we don't just review cars. We chase the pulse beneath the paint, the soul behind the specs, the stories waiting to be told. And the Lamborghini Urus, it doesn't just tell a story. It writes a new one, with every roar, every turn, every mile. So go ahead, press the anima button. Let the world hear you coming. Because the road isn't just asphalt, it's a canvas. And you're the artist.